Like, move. God, that's a fucking cat. Come on. Let's go. Eat your food. I feel tired still, even though I got a pretty good night's sleep last night. But I was reflecting this morning on how you can't run from yourself, you know? When one is feeling not particularly mentally or emotionally well, that becomes abundantly clear, you know? Or physically unwell, too, you know? You can't run from yourself. You gotta solve ontological issues or be consumed by them. I mean, I feel pretty okay today. I don't feel too destabilized or anything. Hello, Keisha. Hello, Winston's mom. Good morning. As I was watching some sidetrack adventures, though, for whatever reason I had the urge to live stream. I'm not sure I'm going to accomplish much of anything while live streaming this morning, although often that has something to do with making me want to start streaming. It's like, well, I'll get some chores done while I'm streaming or something. I could do that. It's supposed to rain today. I could do some manicuring, some harvesting. It'd be worthwhile to process some more of the harvest. You're a silly boy. Yes, you are. But in my work this morning, having to watch him eat. I don't expect this to be a very long live stream, maybe an hour. Then I figure I'll watch a little more TV and go back to bed, try to take a nap this morning. I don't really have much on the schedule for today. My goal is I need to fill out the forms for the dentist office. Hey, Mr. Kartoffel. Where are my mirrors? Right there. Need these things. One of this. Coffee. Correct. One cannot run from one's self. Yeah. And as I was saying, actually, I think probably before anybody was here, when one's experiencing any kind of dis-ease, you know, like be it mental or emotional unhealth, be it physical unhealth, that becomes abundantly clear, you know. What if one runs really fast? Maybe then. Yeah, I finally made Mr. Kartoffel a mod, I guess. Because he was so obsessed with it. I don't know, I guess eventually I just caved and said, okay, fine. I don't exactly remember making him a mod, but I'm sure that's what happened. So I felt a little bit, maybe a little anxious this morning. Not too bad. But that's something that's changed in my life is that I get up in the morning nowadays and I like check my emotional mental state. In that regard, one might make the argument that my FI, my relationship with introverted feeling, is more robust than it used to be, which is contraindicative of what I typically say about cognitive functions, which is you can't improve at them. But I think that it's just a mirage that I've improved at it. It's more like, you know, I experienced things that were bad enough in that attentional field that it compelled me to like add an SI thing or whatever to the mix to remember to check my how I'm doing in the morning or something. Yesterday I had a pretty planned out day. Did a lot of different things. You might disagree with what? Hi Dreamsy Smokes. Hope you're having a good day too. What's for you won't go by you. That's a good expression, Black Star. I like that. I've never heard that before. What's for you won't go by you. You can't avoid realities that are due to you. Like in the moment of practicing with my practicing the attention of FI, which isn't to say practicing on purpose, but just like practicing like a doctor practices, um, exercising the attentional manner of FI. That involves putting oneself in another person's shoes and having a good relationship to preciousness. To me, preciousness just seems to involve terror, fear of loss. So I'm not sure that qualifies as a robust relationship with FI. Do I even have a job? No. I'm going to get a job. I'm getting my teeth fixed. I'm looking forward to getting my teeth fixed, and I'll be able to get a job. One of the main reasons why I'm looking forward to getting my teeth fixed is because it affects how I speak. I don't like the way that it affects how I speak, and I want to be able to speak fluidly again without having to compensate for a lack of teeth. Well, I was less traumatized then, but I did feel that terror about her. It's true, during her childhood. I have an inheritance, Mr. Kartoffel. But I can't live off it alone forever, so I am going to need to get a job at some point here. I'm blessed in that I've got a pretty flexible timetable on that, but it is something that I need to do, and the sooner I do it, the uh, better that is for long term stuff. Yeah, I know that, Mr. Kartoffel. Oh, you're talking about my inheritance? Well, it's been fine. Things are fine financially. Uh, Regardless of all that, it has been some years, and it's odd how long it's taken for me to emotionally process it, because it doesn't just represent the death of people in your family, your parents, but it also represents a sea change for me, where now I'm the last line of defense, basically. Used to be, there were my parents, and there was home where I grew up. I could always go back there and see them, and uh, my life was understood through that frame. When that frame gets disrupted, then it it takes a lot of processing. That's a good callback, Acacia. I forgot about those. God damn it, Eric. You're such a messy slob sometimes. So, I feel uh, pretty good, overall. I've got a good plan. I'm working forward on it. And I got my dentist appointment on Thursday, and then hopeful that I'll go in and get the stuff done the following week and be done with this process pretty quickly, because this is the dentist that doesn't, he wants to do it all at once. I can't help but like that idea at this point. I think it was meant to be, right? I was meant to go to this dentist and get it done, but I need to learn a few things about the process by going to this other dentist first. And anyway, that's going to be, I think it's going to do a lot for my ontology, my self concept, understanding my place in the world, etc. I'm a pretty outgoing guy, or I used to be a lot more outgoing, and the last few years I've been kind of hunkered down. But I kind of feel like I got a new lease on life. Yeah, I took a diabetes test, a hemoglobin A1C test at Quest Diagnostics, and I don't have diabetes. So that's nice. And get my teeth fixed, get myself a nice haircut and everything, look presentable, and apply to. Does it feel like the safety net's removed? Yeah, sure. There's that. You are 53 and have only four teeth left through smoking, drinking, meds, mental health, so they're taking the rest off, teeth out, and replacing them with false teeth. Look after your teeth, people. Yeah, look after your teeth, people. That saying life starts at 50 is untrue big time. Well, you know, I think it really, I think, I don't know, it's a mixed bag for me, right? I don't like the fact that my health isn't what it once was, or my constitution, that I can't just party hard and and be fine. That's kind of annoying. But I'm definitely much wiser and um, more complete as a person. I don't know. I've got a lot of possible things I can do now. I'm like enabled. Are you less social because you moved to the mountains, or did you move to the mountains to be less social? Definitely not the second one. I didn't move here to be less social. I did move here to get away from the city, which I didn't like. Um, Moving to the mountains has made me less social because we only really know the neighbors here, but also because I've I've just been hunkered down. Really, I've not really integrated into the community very much, and I am socializing in a different way than previously. But really, I get a lot of socializing via live stream is where I get most of my socializing, and there's something to be said for real life engagements with people. I think I'll get plenty of like exposure to the world when I start working. Regardless, it's one of those FI things. You don't get it perfect no matter what. So there's a lot of things about up here that I love, and I'm in a block of four flats, and you can hear everything. It's a nightmare. Yeah, that sounds unfortunate. And that's why I hated the city and wanted to get away from there. In part, is it was so goddamn loud all the time. Up here, it's quiet, and especially inside this house, it's quiet because this house is really well insulated, not just in terms of heat, but also sound. Um, but we do have some kind of noisy neighbors across the street, but they're pretty good about having their noise in like from like the 4 p.m. to 7 p.m. time period usually. Play music over there. And I wouldn't mind them playing music except they play terrible, terrible music. They have the worst music taste you could possibly imagine. They play sometimes different genres, like a lot of country, but then some rap sometimes. No matter what genre they're playing the worst examples of that genre. But anyway, that's a minor quibble. I have nothing to complain about at all. When that's the point of this title is whatever problems I have, they're problems with me. They're not problems with my circumstances. Trophy for your Mariposa house brag. It seems that youngsters don't have respect for their elders, which I was brought up to respect. Well, that's a very old sounding thing to say. Young people these days don't respect their elders. Hello, simple girl. How are you? Good morning. So, I feel kind of good, kind of restless. What do you mean by your noisy neighbors? Yeah, there's noisy neighbors across the street. It's like, I wish they weren't that way, but so it goes. At least they don't have a barking dog. The previous neighbors who lived across the street had a barking dog that would bark a lot when they weren't home. So, it's like I move forward in life a little scared, in part because of what Winston's mom said. The safety net of having my parents alive still, and my childhood home there that I could go to and stuff, that's gone. And so makes me feel more exposed moving through life, I guess. But we do still have have other safety nets because Rachel's parents are still alive and etc. You know, and there'll be there'll be inheritance there too eventually. Though I don't want to be morbid about anything, you know. So we're pretty. What I'm getting at is just that I don't have very good reason for my for either depression or anxiety. It's not justified by anything. But that's FI, right? FI is um it would be weird if they received some cool anonymous mixtapes ding dong ditch style. That's a good idea. Um yeah, and we could turn to Rachel's mom too. Rachel's mom, Rachel doesn't I trust Rachel's mom more than Rachel does. Because, and I understand why Rachel doesn't trust her because Rachel's mom has done plenty of like, I know what's best for you, ignoring her agency. But at the same time, I think it's pretty clear that Rachel's mom loves Rachel and wants her to be happy. Oh, yeah, I think so too, Winston's mom. So, I know, Acacia. That's FI, right? It doesn't matter that it's not justified by anything. You've got Bose Quiet Comfort Ultra over the head headphones. That helps. Well, that's good. I'm so sorry to hear you've got barking dog problems. Oh my god, it's terrible. See you later, Mr. Kartoffel. Nephew. If you're gonna call me Unc, should I call you nephew? Who wants to join the Church of Lucifer? Anyone who joins on or before November 10th will be given priesthood. Is that like the same as Catholic priesthood? Do you have to abstain from sex? So I get my new bottle of Adderall this upcoming Monday. I'm a little skittish about that. You know, I think this most recent crash was brutal, but I think it's because I was taking Boost Bar. I'm pretty sure that it was the reason it was 10 times more brutal than usual is that I had stopped taking Boost Bar at the same time, and I had and Boost Bar is an anti-anxiety drug that I didn't need, but that I had access to, and I decided I wanted to just take it. The onset of Sleepy Week, the end of the bottle of Adderall, because this bottle of Adderall, the whole time I was taking it, I was also taking Boost Bar, and then I stopped both of them at the same time, and I had basically panic attacks. Oh, that's fine, Black Star. I understand. You know, you got legitimate things to complain about. Might as well complain about them. I'm not a believer that having a positive attitude, is the solution to everything. My body may have been still healing. My body feels okay. I feel, I feel more or less healthy. You know. Yeah. Well, I'm not taking any Boost Bar anymore. Simple girl. And I am determined this upcoming month to take the Adderall just like one pill a day, or, or I'm determined to have a different relationship with it this month. The big problem with Adderall is very straightforward. Um, it's that it causes me to run on a sleep deficit. It's really important to get enough sleep, especially nowadays. What's Boost Bar? It's spelled Buspar, and it's an anti-anxiety drug. Um, okay, we get it, Satanist. Jesus. Um, you take the Boost Bar only if you have terrible anxiety. Well, I'm not gonna take it anymore. I don't take that. I'm not gonna take that anymore, really, ever again, unless I feel some critical need to take it or something. But even then, a better anti-anxiety, like instant relief thing, is half a Klonopin. Oh, the Adderall. You take Adderall only if you have anxiety. You're prescribed 30 milligrams of Valium a day. Well, that's nice. So obviously, it used to be that I would, uh, the Adderall calms you down, huh? Then you're worthless the next day or something. Yeah, it can be tough, right? It used to be that I could roll with these cycles of up and down, no problem. And I didn't, when I crashed, I just got tired and hungry. I didn't really feel an emotional crash. But that seems to be changing as I'm getting older. Saren's 87, I'll just call you Saren's, says, I too had terrible anxiety. I was scared to even answer attendance in class. I was scared to ride a bike. It was challenging to face the world. Yeah, anxiety's a bitch, man. It's not something I'd really experienced until after my parents' death. I had my first ever panic attack, you should say. It was not that long after my dad passed, and um, I smoked some pot and had a panic attack. When it is in my system, it calms me and I don't get anything accomplished. Well, that's weird. You don't get anything accomplished with when you take Adderall. You just get calmed down. Well, I've noticed that overall, I'm probably less effectively productive on Adderall, which is to say, I'm likely to be busy with something, but um, it's not likely to be part of a plan. It's just as an aging drug enthusiast, I'm discovering that I just can't party like I used to. I have to take it easier, and that's not necessarily a bad thing at all. But I gotta get in the habit of actually taking it easier. Blackstar says my anxiety is bad. I start literally sweating buckets. Then high anxiety if it happens, but the diazepam helps hugely. Only thing helping me right now is meds. I've been in medication for almost a year and a half. What are you taking for it, Sarens? We were talking about Boost Par as one possible thing that they take for it, and then benzos is another thing that gets taken for it. things that I find help my anxiety that are not um, drugs. I find when I'm feeling quite anxious, if I start feeling really anxious, then I have to get up and walk out of the house and like walk around like the street and the driveway and stuff. I feel this almost like hyperventilating panic. But walking around, getting a little exercise helps. I suspect that getting good exercise is an excellent solution, but it doesn't mean I do so. Like when I'm in not a great state of mind, I'm also not very good at applying possible solutions. Somebody also said that petting a cat, petting a cat will reduce anxiety. It doesn't hurt, you know. Focusing on the well-being of something else is kind of helpful because it makes you less the subject of all of your thoughts, you and your realities that you're fixated on. Okay. Plant number 2 is done. We've got plant number 1 done and plant number 2 done. It's starting to rain. It's supposed to rain today. Okay. Yeah, this is that. Oops. God damn it. Stuff like this is a good solution as well. I mean, for me, a huge thing is talking to people. Live streaming helps a lot, but also of late I've been calling Cameron on the phone, chatting with him. That helps a lot too. Just feeling connected with people. Okay. Some progress. I really want to get this off my plate and done. You can hear the storm coming in. go inside and I don't even know how much I'll process this, but I'll process at least a little bit. All right, let's see what's going on in the chat. It's been a second since I've looked at it. Let's see. Yeah, it's unfortunate that people in other countries still you guys have any support group that I can join? Just being here is the only this is the support group. You're already in it. Really hot showers is suggested as a solution. I figured you would have tried, but had to ask anyway. I wonder how this ties in with dopamine. I used to take Ativan. It's very addictive. See, for some, it may be a place of comfort. For me, nothing helps. Oh, well, a witness is, now I'm getting myself mentally prepared for a knee replacement. Bums me out. Oh, that's, yeah. Health problems are a bummer, and simple girl, that's got to be brutal. Like, so it's not just your country. My state would throw me in jail for doing what host Eric can do in his state. Sarah says, worst thing is when I was struggling with anxiety and depression, my girlfriend cheated on me with a close friend of mine. I was shattered. I chose self-harm too. Yeah, that's freaking brutal. Sorry to hear that. Simple Girl says, I wish I could smoke pot. I used to, but this new stuff is way too potent. Hi, the deal for real, the deal for real. Winston's mom, you always have to say thoughts and prayers. Okay? You can't just be in your thoughts. Your thoughts are only worth like this much, but thoughts and prayers are worth like this much. It's twice as much. Yes, each state in America has its own laws. Hostark lives in a blue state that is liberal, and my state is very conservative. I started smoking and drinking, but due to periapical infection, doctor asked me to never smoke and drink. What a shitty life this is. Things get better, things get worse sometimes, but things rarely stay the same all the time. So you got that to reassure you, perhaps. Laura Pearl says, hi, Eric, love the sound of the storm coming. Yeah, it's coming. Then Sarens points out the existential crisis for us all. One day we will all die and be forgotten from everyone's memory. The traces of our existence will vanish. We are nothing but a dust carried in the air when trucks pass. You're getting an ounce of wedding cake tomorrow? So I'll get a good night's sleep tomorrow. That's good. The prices are crazy. Noah says, I haven't seen you in a long time. Well, you're seeing me now. I've got a trained witness like a dog, I guess. Doesn't he's what you call growth resistant. Well, you can pick whichever God you want. I'd say if you want to go old school, go Greek, probably is good. If you want to get more modern, etc., then you could go like maybe Hare Krishna. Is that a god or is that just people with flowers? The thing is, you ultimately you can't make people learn, understand, or grow. It's it's a worthwhile and noble response to various kinds of failures to attempt to help somebody to learn, change, grow, become more complete as a person. But if they're resistant to it, you'll never get anywhere. Black Star, you're absolutely right that smoking weed is a much healthier alternative to alcohol, and that some people in the medical profession view it as uh, a drug addiction, like say opiate addiction or something, which is insane and absurd. So when you deal with somebody who keeps saying the same things over and over again, ignoring everything you said, and despite you're making efforts to correct them and such, then the only thing you can do is try to train them like a dog, you know. Perhaps you've had some experiences with doctors and nurses that do this, but I have not yet, and I would hesitate to blame them. That's a profession filled with suffering, and yeah, they're humans too, prone to addiction like anybody. It's hard being human. That's the truth of it. It's hard being human. And it's hard in a lot of different ways. Um yeah, it's true that doctors and nurses comprise a a group that is not monolithic, you know. Individuals are individuals. I like our psychiatrist a lot. There have been doctors I've encountered that I've not been satisfied with. By and large, I've not encountered problems with nurses. Nurses are some of the worst drug addicts. Well, I mean, but you could say nurses are some of the best drug addicts. What about that? Why are we condemning them? Nurses are some of our best drug addicts. We need to normalize that drug addiction is neutral, you know. Certainly it's true that addiction is a problem. You know, can be a problem. It's also true that it's rarely a solution for people who struggle with addiction to just abstain from everything, you know? It's rarely a solution. You gotta understand which of your habits are sustainable and which of them aren't. People are often told it's all or nothing once they have any kind of substance abuse issue, but that's doing people a great disservice. It's hard to live in Earth. Rats afraid of snakes, snakes afraid of eagle, deers afraid of lion, insects afraid of lizard, humans afraid of humans, humans afraid of death. I'm not worried about my situation, but I'm worried about you. I'm trying to fix you because you're a problem in a way that annoys me. That's fine, Acacia. So at some point, I may just have to hide him completely. I don't know. He doesn't seem to get the message that repeating himself all the time, the same thing over and over again, despite me explaining things. Uh, I mean, I share that information, like with the dentist and with whomever. Because the reason I don't mind sharing that kind of information about me smoking pot is I know I can win the argument. They won't try to blame everything on pot and depression for me. I will win the argument, you know? So I don't worry about hiding information because if it's true and it's bad, then I deserve to be condemned for it. If it's true and it's not bad, then they deserve to get their fucking heads shoved up their asses. If they have complaint about it, you know. Either way, someone learns. It's either me because I fucked up, or it's them because they made the horrible decision to try to challenge me on this. And I had to school them. Now, I haven't been to the ER in a very long time. And even the last time I did go to the ER, it wasn't really an emergency. I had broken my hand, but I had broken it like 2 days before I went in there and concluded, okay, it's broken. I need to get a cast or something, you know. If it were a real emergency, well, I'd probably be like, stop asking me questions and address the emergency. If there's no disease, doctors would be unemployed. That's why they make sure we don't get cured. If we get a cough, they would suggest a suppressant, but the reason for the cough is to get something out. Well, that's true. But they'd only suggest a suppressant if you were complaining about a cough that they could not identify any cause of or anything like that. They probably wouldn't recommend that anyway. No, I never watched House. I never watched it. I've been compared to the guy in House by many different people over the years, but I never watched it myself. All right. Like, I've got this box here of unmanicured stuff. uh, I'm I'm thinking I'm not gonna take a Wellbutrin today. I think I have 3 left. I get it refilled on Monday. I got 4 left. But I think I'm not gonna take one today. I the the Wellbutrin is pretty effective at like flattening me out. So I have I feel my emotions less, but and it also just kind of like makes me quiet, makes me flat. It's not something that I really enjoy, but it also makes me a little more productive. But not in a good way like Adderall does. Meow. What are you always meowing at me for, Kitty? Is what an antidepressant? Oh, Wellbutrin? Yeah. It's an antidepressant slash quit smoking drug, but I'm not taking it to quit smoking. I'm taking it as an antidepressant. One thing that's good about Wellbutrin is it doesn't seem to really have any snapback. Like when you stop taking it, you don't get more depressed. So I like having it available, and I don't I when I first got it, of course, I tried just using it abusively, like I do everything. But I don't seem to abuse it now. I just take one or maybe two, and I'm on the 150, so they come in 300 anyway. Me taking two of them is just like me taking one of the full strength ones. But I'm gonna have to figure out what I'm doing with the Adderall. I'm either gonna have to start using it as prescribed, but even less than unprescribed probably, or I'm gonna have to stop taking it probably. Although I don't want to make too much of this most recent sleepy week slash crash period because, as I mentioned, I was on Boost Bar as well, and I stopped both of them at the same time. Are your teeth front teeth crowns? Uh, they're veneers. Yeah, they're not. Yeah, basically crowns. Yeah. But they're gonna be all taken out. I'm gonna get uh, all in four bridge up here that has all my front teeth, my top teeth. As implants, with 4 implants, they do all of your front teeth, all of your top, I mean, teeth. So I'm gonna get that done. Hopefully within a couple weeks. I think that's gonna give me somewhat of a new outlook on things. I've been dealing with this tooth problem for a long time now. most of all, what I'm looking forward to is being fully able in my speech. Because I am by nature a speaky person. And there are times when I like to talk really fast. I'm somewhat limited in my ability to do that now. When you starting your rain dance offerings today? So it says, I am 24. I lost all my 6 front teeth to infection. Now I am planning for implant probably next month. Well, thanks, simple girl. Um, I'm looking forward to my appearance in that area not being a liability, but more I'm looking forward to a return to normal speech habits. Of course, it'll make eating a lot easier too. A lot of big things in the mix right now. Makes me feel kind of nervous, but also kind of um, excited as well. But since you can't run from yourself, you got to deal with these things head on. Sometimes you can only avoid them for so long. Sarah, and you're young. Things are going to get a lot better for you. Don't get stuck in this moment and the horrible shit that happened to you. Coming together, it sounds like. Stay in the fight, Eric. Thanks. I will. If you want to give me advice, what would it be? It would be, you're still young. Don't get caught up in the horribleness of right now. You've got decades in front of you to live entirely different lives. You know? I've lived, I don't know how many lives in my 54 years. Definitely more than one. I'm on my 3rd wife. My first wife cheated on me. Eventually, I found the right woman. Meow. Meow. The need to talk fast goes to your Gemini moon, I could argue. Gemini moon. Good morning, No Sage. You can stop meowing. I've watched you eat already twice this morning. Last night I watched the USC women's basketball team play, and they did a great job. I was very pleased by them. They look like, they haven't started to really gel together yet, but the defense looks great. We have the #1 recruit in the country. My heart feels so light after letting out. Thank you, sir. I will join frequently on your live. You're welcome anytime, Sarens. I usually go live every day for at least a little while. When I started this stream, I said I was going to stream for, it'd probably be a kind of short stream. I'd only stream for about an hour. But I'm going to let it go a little longer. Host Eric's powerful words are very good advice. Criticism kills love. Whether you receive criticism or give out criticism, there is some love lost. Yeah, criticism kills love is good advice. That those aren't my words, though. Okay, I cannot take credit for that. Actually, this horrible toxic woman told me that. But that just goes to show you, words are not the same as the person, right? A terrible person can tell you something that's very powerful and true, and that's the case in that instance. Somebody whom I do not think is a good person at all is the one who said that to me. Way to criticize Winston's mom's attribution skills. I'm sorry, Winston's mom. I did not mean to critique your citation. Your citation is fine just the way it is. Don't you change a thing. Truth is truth no matter who speaks it, yeah. Yeah, that's the lesson there is that you do have to evaluate words on their merits. You can't know whether they're good words or not based on who said them. Double tap to like. Thanks, Dreamsy Smokes, for the encouragement of the stream participators. Been a great stream this morning. I want to thank you guys, all of you, for being here. It's been wonderful to have this, you know, kind of healing conversation about the struggles of being human. When I when I watch YouTube, if I'm feeling a little bit like destabilized or not great or whatever, I've got a couple of go-to watches that I do. Number one is I'll rewatch old episodes of Sidetrack Adventures on YouTube with Steve. If is there anybody here who watches Sidetrack Adventures besides me? It's the king. He is the king of Pleasant Core. He just drives along these highways and stops at little like things like here's a historical monument. It sounds boring, but it's paced brilliantly. He's a brilliant pacer. And I could just sit there and rewatch his old videos. Welcome to Sidetrack Adventures. This is Steve. So I find him and his voice and his pleasant core videos to be very soothing. And then another thing I like to watch when I'm feeling distressed is uh, anime that I've already watched, but I don't really remember that well, but was pretty good. So I could binge it a bunch of episodes in a row. And then that'll be pretty soothing as well. But a lot of things that are ultimately helpful are involve more doing than that. And I can struggle to be motivated to do things when that's what I need to be, you know. Self discipline has never been one of my strong suits. Exercising self discipline to follow a long term plan that requires repeated maintenance activities. Oh, you are giving me an expert level challenge there that I'm not sure how capable of that I am. That's why I am gonna get a job in part is because, well, if I were to if I were to exercise the monetary potential of typology in this channel, in other words, if I were to maximize my ability to get typing sessions, I might not even need to get a job. But that requires self-discipline. Whereas getting a job and having to be at work at a certain time and going home at a certain time, that is external discipline. Words Build bridges into unexplored regions. Anyone can deal with victory, only the mighty can bear defeat. Do not compare yourself to others. If you do so, you are insulting yourself. Well, what I have another set of words though that contradicts that last one that I think is maybe better of it, which is compare against alternatives, not the ideal. In other words, I'm not perfect according to my understanding of how I should be perfect, right? But I think it's sometimes wise to remind yourself that everybody else is human and faulty as well. And everybody else has struggles too. And everybody else has guilt, shame. They've made mistakes. They have regrets. If they don't, then they're very young, and they will. It can be, I guess, uh, compare against alternatives, not ideals. I heard that from Taylor of Flow State, formerly of Flow State. Now it's called something else, Powdered Dusty, I think. Um, that's something that Taylor told me. Compare yourself against alternatives, not the ideal. That's something TI tool users need to be told, I think. Because we default towards criticism of the self, especially. And if the criticism is, I could have done better in my imagination, well, then you're gonna always hate yourself. Last time I was in a bad mental place, my friend told me to chop wood, carry water, just continue to do the basics to go through the motions. So I forced myself, felt better, and felt better. Right. Chop wood and carry water is a Zen notion that is well considered. It's a chicken and egg thing, right? When I'm not feeling very ontologically well, it's hard to motivate myself to chop wood and carry water. Depression goes along with a lack of motivation. I disagree with that. If you compare yourself to an alternative, you'll be even harder on yourself when you come short. If you compare yourself with the ideal, you'll realize everyone comes short. Well, I mean, you're saying if you do X, you'll have frame Y. I don't know why that would be the case. It's backwards. If you have frame Y, then maybe you can make a conclusion about subframe X. But good for you, no show media. Worst thing I've done in my life, deceiving people for profit or like being forced to do bad stuff to survive growing up in poverty. Well, I would imagine Hero Land that you probably don't spend a ton of time consciously recalling previous things and regretting them based on your personality type. I would suggest that you have a healthier relationship with SI than I'm going to have in some sense because you're able to put the past behind you more easily. Tomorrow doesn't exist, so you have to say each day do what you need for that day. That's all that exists, bro. What do I need to do for today? Well, I have myself assigned a couple of chores that I need to accomplish. Number one, really just one chore. I need to complete the forms for the dentist and send them back to the dentist before I go in tomorrow. Thoughts on Mandami win? Mamdani win? Anyone? I don't know what that means. If he can accomplish what he wants, you are cooked. What does he want to accomplish? socialized housing in New York. Yeah, that's not going to happen. I thought about it after being victim of a scam myself. He wants free buses, government run grocery stores. Well, that's not going to happen. It's like, even if you were to get it to happen somehow, it wouldn't persist past his administration. It just doesn't make any fiscal sense. Ultimately, you know, centralizers run into the same problem always, which is an ineffective way to get anything done. There's a certain situation that irritated my mind. There was a situation where I tasked a person with a job, but he comes back without doing the task. Okay, did he say, why did he come back without doing the task? The politician seems to dislike poor people, real lack of compassion in this country. Um, I just think that I don't think it's a lack of compassion. It's that people don't they don't have accurate understandings of how certain policies produce certain kinds of outcomes. There's a weak understanding of the linkages between policies and outcomes, and no there's no understanding of how one ought to determine policy. So people are married to the wrong way to determine policy and are unaware of the right way to determine policy, or at best, opposed to it. It's not illegal to be homeless, but it is in many places illegal to camp on the street, which is understandable. So what am I doing right now? What am I doing? Well, let's go walk around the house, maybe. Let's go walk around the house a bit. Because on his own values, it costs too much. But before it was agreed that he buys it definitely. Well, maybe you should point that out. Well, the idea of the public space here, Lamb, is that it's accessible temporarily to all people and permanently to none, right? Like if you if you camp out on the sidewalk or something, you're saying I permanently or semi-permanently occupy this public space. But I don't have a good solution for you. And I understand that you're talking about the most vulnerable people in society and making things harder for them. And that's tragic. Rather, pointed it out. Person does not see it wrong to break agreement. Camping on a sidewalk is stupid. Yeah, well, I mean, obviously, there are public spaces where it's not in it's not so much of a problem for people to camp. It doesn't interfere with the public space so much. And in those instances, people should be, I think enforcement of anti-camping regulations should be determined on a case-by-case basis, I guess, depending on the amount of impact on the public space. Well, I would guess it would be not TI, FI over TI, but probably lower NI as well, maybe. I'm not sure. Where I live, folks seek out the homeless camps like Karens, even if they're in a forest. It's wild. See, that's just ridiculous. I don't know. I have compassion, and I also can see arguments on the side of the public trying to reclaim the public wild spaces as public wild spaces rather than places they feel sketched out going. It's a challenging question. All right, so we're going to walk around the house. We're going to get a water. I'm going to take a look. Do I want to make myself more coffee? All right, fine. I'll make myself more coffee. I was going to get a water, but how is Trouble doing? Trouble's doing fine. He wants me to watch him eat again, even though I've already watched him eat like twice this morning. Just because he likes to be, well, I guess because he's feeling anxious, or he wants the reassurance of it or something. I try to keep that in mind too. That's part of an improved relationship with my own feelings, I guess, is that my own experience of anxiety can help me understand that, help me understand it when other people or cats, in this instance, also display traits of anxiety. He needs lots of reassurances, He doesn't stay reassured very long. Putting some creamer in my coffee and now some half and half. That caches the half and half. Oh yes. You're a good boy, McSmudgemoy. Hello, Eric and Rachel says, Kan Krishna Sarma Pagoo. Is that really Kan Krishna Sarma Pagoo? Oh my goodness. The woman who's famous for having the name Kan Krishna Sarma Pagoo is here. Are you good? Surely you're full by now. No? Okay. Now let's walk around the house. Eric, are you the reincarnation of Pythagoras from Greece? No. And the reason is because I think that a squared plus b squared equals d squared. It's a little different. So, I'm obviously, the math community and I have some real conflicts that we're engaged in. In the latest Journal of Mathematics Industrial Weekly magazine, the title article on the edition is C or D? C squared or D squared? Who's correct? And then they've got a picture of Pythagoras with up verses and then a picture of me. You want to come outside, Kitty? There you go. Eric, does my name look sexier with or without the numbers? I'd say equally sexy in both circumstances. All right, let's walk around the house. As you can see, we've got some stormy weather blowing. The winds are blowing, the clouds are coming in, temperatures are dropping. We're really starting to feel the biscuits now. I'm waiting for a raindrop. You think the numbers look sexier? Oh, I think I got a big poop in my mouth. I need to let out. I'm supposed to get an inch of rain, so the pond's going to fill up again. I still have so much harvesting and processing to do. What a hassle. Why I'm not a farmer. Let me put these cutters. Make sure everything's covered up in anticipation of the rain. I'll leave this shovel out, but I'll put it like this. All right, you guys wait here while I go to the bathroom. Ah, that's a lot better. Okay, well, I think I'm going to wrap this up now. It's been almost an hour and a half. I said when I started I'd go about an hour. And I think I'll end up taking a nap here this morning after I watch a little bit more Sidetrack Adventures. Uh, Thank you all for being here. Nice to see you again, Ken Krishna Sarma Pagoo. And may you all have a very merry day.